car show basics. Let's go over the marketing and everything we know about car shows. Let's do some automotive networking tips. You and I both know that that's critical to grow your network, maintain your network. And then we're going to talk about building an AI race team, or maybe an iterative of that doesn't even exist, that you can make money with today.
All right, let's go.
All right, a couple things about the podcast. We had done this for 2 years as an email newsletter.
Yes.
So the name is not new, Automotive Advantage. And we have a bunch of people that signed up for that newsletter in its heyday.
Thousands, honestly.
Yeah.
It's a pretty big newsletter, surprisingly.
So we need to do this, but maybe as a tip for folks watching this, if you're on one platform and you want to transition everybody to another platform with a Substack newsletter, it seems kind of easy, right? You can invite them to come watch your YouTube channel or your podcast. Was there anything else there on how to move groups of people from one place to another?
Welcome to the Automotive Advantage. Grow your business and get smarter in just 1 hour.
No, but we should jump in here. I mean, there's been a lot of questions about CRMs, which is interesting, so we need to do more on that. But as an industry, I don't think we're using platforms like Substack enough. So maybe we should dive into how to build a Substack at some point. But if you're listening at home and you've never heard of Substack, it's effectively like a blog / email newsletter / publishing platform all tied into one. And it is a great way to get your like kind of long form messaging out. It's a great way to share video now. It's a great way to build a subscriber base without relying on the algorithm, is really what it was intended to do. So yeah, we should do something on Substack in the future.
Yeah, let's do maybe each week, let's go through one social platform and we'll just, everything that you and I have learned through the days. And then is this going to be on Apple Podcast? I had that question come in.
Yes, it's coming. So right now it's on YouTube and Spotify. If you need it somewhere else, we can send you the RSS feed. We can link it in the YouTube description as well. And then you can just import that RSS feed into any streaming service, except for Amazon, I found out. So we're working on syndicating this to everyone else. But for right now, if you do listen on Apple Podcasts, we can just send you the RSS feed. You can import it and it'll show up right there. I did test this. I know it works. So,
yeah, where I'm going with this is so that folks realize this isn't our third podcast. We've actually done a whole bunch of these things that existed on other platforms. Really 2 years of this. This is the first time we've gone on what I would call the more major platforms. And a lot of it was a learning for us, right, to see what works and what the audience liked. And then also to test our theory that nobody in the automotive, especially the automotive aftermarket industry, is really talking about the nuts and bolts of the business side of the industry. And we wanted to bring light to all these things that we've learned over the years and how to help people grow businesses of their own.
100%.
So that leads me into like the second little podcast update, which is I'm super happy. I'm not exaggerating, I've got over 30, maybe 35 people on the list who are executive experts in the automotive industry, automotive aftermarket industry, and they want to come on and tell their story. A lot of them are watching this. They're coming from our Substack days also. For us, the ground rules to come on here, and we're going to start this in a couple weeks. You're going to have guests on here pretty regularly, just so folks that are tuning in early get to look forward to this. But there might be a little bit of background from these folks, just so you kind of get squared up on where they are and who they are and where they came from. But largely, we're going to ask them questions like, how did you make $10 million on your YouTube channel? And what is a manufacturer's rep? And what is the key to having a part that you manufacture that makes all the money back in 2 weeks and then you're good for the next 25 years? So those types of questions that is going to give you deep insight into the auto industry.
Yeah, to say that the same way, but a different way, my promise to the audience is like, we are not going to be a historical podcast about your first car and your second car and then other cars that you like in the future, right? So for me, if you're going to be a guest on the Automotive Advantage, it's all about delivering actionable insights to us and the person at home listening to this thing, right? And the real goal is to watch it and to be like, I can do that today. the next meeting I have, I'm going to institute one of these things, and I'm going to see if it works or not. So yeah, I'm excited to get some guests on here that really know what they're talking about.
We'll have to figure out how you and I ask them questions, because I got a feeling we're gonna jump on it pretty quick.
We're gonna have to.
Well, I probably should lead though, don't you think?
No.
Well, all right, we'll figure that
Yeah.
out. Okay, let's jump into the news. You ready? Here comes the news. Okay, Market Watch. This is an interesting headline that 20% of new car loans, so people go into their dealership, they buy a car. The payments now, 20% of the payments are over $1,000 a month. You and I have been watching this really for a couple of years. That really isn't a new shocking number for me, but for a lot of folks that realize the days of affordable vehicles are way gone. The other way to read into that is people aren't bringing as much cash to put down on a new vehicle, but clearly cars are getting more expensive, plus interest rates, and you're talking about what used to be a mortgage payment just a few years ago just to get into a new car. What's your take on that? What does that do to the industry? Certainly doesn't leave a lot of money left for accessories and other fun stuff with cars, but where are we headed with this?
Yeah, I'm going to rant for a second here.
Go ahead, get crazy.
Everyone has a price anchor in their head for most things, right? For me, cars are $35,000. Like, that's my price anchor. Like, that's what an 03 Cobra was. Like, those are just the numbers in my head that I'm like, that's what a car should cost. So when I grew up, if you told me I would have $100,000 or $1,000 a month to spend on a car one day, I would imagine that's an F40. Like, I'm buying my Ferrari. I definitely have a Porsche already. Like, and now that's just that 20% of, that's just regular cars. Now, to be fair, in traffic, regular cars are like Escalades at this point, right? And Navigators and these crazy expensive SUVs. But it's hard for me to wrap my head around that. That said, you and I both own cars that have car payments like that. And I never thought I would pay something like that in a car payment. It is just absolutely wild to me that that would be the amount of money. The other scary stat about this is that, yes, people are paying $1,000 a month, over 20% of them, but I also heard that the average new car loan is over 70 months now. So it's not like they're paying $1,000 a month for 48 months and then they're out of it. They're extending these things forever. So I think it's terrifying. Again, this goes back to what we've talked about, is like, where's all the money coming from? When's the ride going to stop? You keep hearing things like this, right? I remember when it crested 1,000 and now it's 10%, 15 and 20%. It just seems like the new norm. I agree. That's a house payment, or it used to be. It's not a house payment anymore. But yeah, it's pretty wild. I don't know how to reconcile any of it other than it's interesting and it seems terrifying, but then everyone seems to be okay. So I don't know. What's your take there?
At that number, it's just normal to pay $1,000, $1,200 a month for your car. It's concerning. And then let's talk about if you're an automotive aftermarket company, you got to be worried. What accessories is that owner going to be able to afford? What are they going to be able to put a supercharger on their new $1,500 a month payment? So you think about that, and it's got to affect downstream all of the other companies that you and I know and love. So it's a problem that the auto industry is going to have to face, get used to, grow through. But here we are.
Yeah. And theoretically, okay, car payments are super high, new cars are very expensive, old cars should be more affordable, but old cars have been appreciating just as rapidly. So, people are paying $200,000 for 69 Camaros now, too. So it's like, yeah, I don't really know. And you and I love cool cars. Cool cars are expensive, but it seems like they used to be more reasonable for a lot of these things. I know, and we should probably do something about average transaction price and just the OE's obsession with ATP, which is probably what got us into this mess in the first place. But it's also this barbell thing where they can't make them expensive enough, it seems like. You talk to people in the high-end luxe SUV space, in the supercar space, they just keep raising pricing. Porsche is just like, oh, we'll just double the price of a 911, and oh, we're still selling out of them, So I want to blame it on greed of the manufacturers. I want to blame it on ATP, but people keep signing up to do it, so why wouldn't you keep raising the price? I don't know.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of an example of a very expensive car that doesn't sell well. Like you don't see dealers' lots filled with big expensive SUVs. You just don't. They're sold immediately, or they're even sold before they arrive at the dealership. So
I mean, the best version of that we saw was probably Ford price testing the Bronco Raptor, right? Truck started at $74,000 when it came out. They were selling for 20 over sticker, and then surprise, surprise, all of a sudden MSRP went from 74 to 94, and then they sat, and then now Ford's marking them back down to 79, 80 again, and they're starting to move again. So it's like they did find a limit there. But that's such a niche vehicle, you know, but I feel like on the Navigator, Escalade, Land Rover, Range Rover side, they just can't find the top yet.
And then the European exotics seem to live in this space, right? I'm hearing just nightmare stories about financing for BMWs and people who really shouldn't be buying these cars at $1,200, $1,500, $1,700 a month, and they get into these cars somehow. So, you know, there's some people that are tracking this. There's some great Instagram channels that, you know, people are trying to help get folks out of those types of situations. I will say I'm a couple months away from having the Trackhawk paid off, and I'm never going to get into a car that costs $11 or $1,000 a month ever again.
That's a lie.
Oh, maybe. Okay.
It is a straight up lie.
All right. Another market watch news item. This is interesting. Bloomberg electric vehicle outlook. Okay, we're going to move it to the electric vehicle side of our industry. The forecast of 22 million battery electric and plug-in hybrid vehicle sales this year is up. That number's up 25% year over year. However, they have lowered the future forecast due to quote-unquote various policy changes in the U.S. There's a couple things in this data point that I want to pull out for the readers, which is they've lumped together battery electric and hybrid electric. So don't be fooled by that, and I don't mean that in a nefarious way, but just the straight up battery electric craze or forced market looks like that's starting to fade. You can see the Trump administration just changing the rules of the game. Hybrid seems to come in. It seems like people feel good about that. I've got a hybrid. I get to sample both the electric, the good of the electric, but I can still fill up with gas, and I don't have that, which is a real thing, the range anxiety of my electric car cutting out on me. I'm really interested, you and I have talked about the electric car market like everybody else is in the cars here for the last, seems like decade, but the outlook for the electric cars looks like it's going to be maybe 25% of market share. Maybe that's where it tops out. What do you think about this? Is that going to be the peak electric for us?
I mean, I don't know. I think EVs will eventually get to something like 50% volume eventually, because there are good EVs. Like, people aren't anti-EV as much as they used to be. I think everyone was anti-EV because it was like, let me choose. If you make something good, I'll go buy it. But, I'm not just going to go do it. Now, now that it's like, oh, wait, I sat in a Rivian and I actually kind of liked it and the interior was nice, so maybe I could consider one of these and they're kind of affordable. Oh, the Slate truck is kind of cool. So I think EVs, and now they have to win out on just being better than everything else, which is great. That's free market, right? But I hear more and more people being like, well, I could use an EV in my life, maybe not to go up north, but maybe for running around town, maybe for doing this, maybe for doing that. And then obviously the hybrids, have been and are great. We were around someone yesterday who did not seem like the type of person to be driving a Prius, but pulled up in a Prius, So I think people are just realizing, hey, I need the car that's good for my mission, and I'm going to go through that. And if it happens to be a hybrid or if it happens to be electric, then okay, let me go drive it. Luckily, the fad of it has to be an EV is over, so I like that. But I can see this creeping up over time.
One other thing to watch, I'm seeing reports on, now we've got Teslas that are really used vehicles, right? 5 years plus. And people are coming up to the challenge of the battery went bad, one of the engines has failed, and these are major repairs to what is not that old of a vehicle, like something around 100,000 miles on some of these things. I'm not critical of it. I don't know the overall state of electric car dependability and used car repair costs in the electric market, straight electric, but I think it's something people should really watch in two ways. If you're a used car dealer, that might be something you don't want to touch, and I know that's true from some of the other sources of information that we follow. Right, they're very debt heavy just as a unit. But maybe the bottom falls out, and you can repair electric cars more affordably than the manufacturer. You find a way to do it, and you got this awesome side business you can start with salvaged Teslas and putting them together and making them run again. So some thoughts about where this is going to take us as consumers.
Yeah, a friend of mine just bought a used Tesla. It was a great deal. It had like a bunch of warranty left in it. The battery is still good. I think he paid 20 grand for it, and it had full self-driving, which was a $10,000 option on its own, right? So like some of those are depreciating pretty well, where even if you ran it out until the battery died, it might make sense for you. But I also think, yes, there's a huge, business opportunity for people to do those repairs in the future. And I know there's a couple companies that do them, probably on the West Coast, but like there's no one in Michigan that's doing EV repairs. So we're going to see more and more of that, which is pretty cool. And the hybrid stuff, kind of complicated architecture in there. A lot of people like it because it's the best of both worlds, but it's both worlds combined into one thing now. So I think there'll be aftermarket shops that specialize in that too.
Well, and you have to point out some of the most extreme performance vehicles in this space are hybrid electric cars, and they're fast. There's a Corvette running around like that, I think. So it's mainstream and it's here, and it's going to be neat to see how this plays out.
Yeah, I was around a McLaren Speedtail recently, which is one of the coolest cars ever built. 250 mile an hour top speed, twin turbo V8 in the back. Electric drive kind of hybrid thing, and it has this giant, like bigger than this table, wireless charging pad. So there's a charging pad on the ground, there's a huge box with 240 plug and all this chaos thing going on, and you just pull the car on over it and it just charges like a little iPhone, but like someone has to maintain this charging pad, right? All of that infrastructure. So I think it'll be really interesting to see what the aftermarket starts to look like. I know there's some performance stuff in the Tesla space, but like, what do we see for regular repair shops going forward?
Yeah, good. Another market watch item, Dodge sales for the first half of 2025. Buckle up, Justin. You ready for this?
I'm ready.
Okay. So Dodge sales, they're reporting they're down 49% for the first half of 2025. Not to beat up on the electric cars, but they only sold 4,299 of the electric Charger Daytonas. I actually love the look of that car, by the way, but it's not a sales hit. The only car that seems to be working for Dodge right now, the only vehicle that they're reporting that was up, the Durango. But we touched on this a couple weeks ago. Tim Kuniskis is back. You got everything going on with SRT, and looks like they may have found their mojo, but that takes some time. First of all, a big car company down 49%. Please reference Jaguar in your response if that makes sense. But is this the end of Dodge? Are they going to be able to pull out of this hole?
I don't know. I mean, yeah, they will, but does that include G? Is that like is that just Dodge? I don't know how that.
Yeah, just Dodge, because they usually run, they're a little more siloed, right? So Jeep as a business unit, Ram as a business unit,
Okay.
Which is, I've heard some amazing things when they announced Tim Kuniskis was coming back.
Yeah.
But just Dodge. And yeah, that's a good point. What
does Dodge even make? Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly.
So I don't know. Yeah, if they're down 49%, but the only thing they make is an electric Charger, then okay, yeah, that makes sense.
And the Hornet, don't forget that.
And the Hornet, which was like, that thing never found a home in the market, right? Like, I don't even know. Okay, let's talk about the Hornet for a second. I don't even know who it was supposed to be for, but then at some point they just panic shifted to like, oh, it's a rally car. Remember that? Which doesn't make it. It makes absolutely no sense. Like they had him at Barrett Jackson, just like driving around in the dirt. They had him at M1 doing the same thing. It's like, that was never going to make any sense at all. I think consumers were just like, I don't even know what this is. I don't care about it in any way, shape, or form. And it had nothing to it. Weirdly, there's also the Mustang Mach-E Rally, which I think is an interesting car, but I would never buy one. I feel like everyone, when they have nothing to do with a car, Sonic, remember when Sonic tried to be a rally car? What is it with what is it with the OEs? They're just like, well, we have a hot hatch and we can't sell it. Let's pretend like it's a rally car. It doesn't make any sense to me. Who's making these decisions?
Well, but you have to remember, you could make any car fast. It doesn't matter what it is, right? Like you get to some phase of your hot rodding experience and you realize, oh, I can make that Hornet can be ridiculously fast. It's going to cost a lot of money. But you're right. When we went to the M1 Roadkill Nights and the Dodge team had the Hornets out in the mud just beating the balls off them, I was like, oh, that's smart. You got to do something with that thing.
I mean, it looks fun, but no one's going to buy a Hornet to go rally up north. It just doesn't make any. There's no consumer fit there. So, yeah, there's been a bunch of those. Focus RS, one of, I think, super cool car, kind of forgotten about now. That tried to get in the rally space as well. Like, I think it's weird that these hot hatches end up as rally cars. I don't even know what a Hornet is technically, but I'm assuming it's a hot hatch. It's kind of shaped. It just has like a blob, amorphous blob type of shape. Yeah, so if they have that and the electric charger, then it makes sense to be down 49%.
Yeah, they deserve it.
If you want to fix this, Dodge, we have the fix.
Yeah, we're experts at this, so just give us a call.
Hellcat minivan.
I want one so bad.
Hellcat minivan. You want to talk about average transaction price? Just pick a number.
Yeah, doesn't matter.
Do no math at all. Just pick a number. $280,000. Demon powered, whatever.
All-wheel drive minivan.
All-wheel drive minivan.
And it runs 940s.
Done. We just saved Dodge.
Yeah.
There we go. And you can rally race it.
I've told Kirk this for years. He just doesn't listen. All right. Thanks, Dodge, for that headline. That was great. We got a lot of mileage out of that one today. There's a new J.D. Power study out. Did you see this?
I didn't.
They wanted to know top complaints of American car owners about their new vehicles. Not the number one complaint, that was seatbelts or something like that, but the fastest rising complaint about new vehicles. Justin, these damn cup holders just aren't big enough.
For their triple mega gulps or whatever?
Stanley Cups. There's a Stanley Cup reference on there. So I got a business idea off of this. I read the headline and I was, it's just so cliche. You just got to go with it. But look, who's going to, and I think they're out there. I don't think this is anything novel, but we've got to have someone that can build adapters and even 3D print. The little adapter that gives me the big cup holder it seems obvious solution for this, right?
Well, I think part of the problem with cup holders today is that I also now have to put my phone and my stupid key, because my key used to go in a place that held the key, and now the key doesn't go in anywhere, and I don't want it in my pocket all the time, and I already took it out to unlock the car, so it's like I put my key and my phone in my cup holder. Now I only have one cup holder left. If I make a mega-sized cup holder for my triple Stanley or whatever, then I don't have anywhere to put anything anymore. I feel like this is a very solvable problem. I feel like we had a great spot for keys. That was cool. That was working fine. I feel like every auto manufacturer makes wireless charging pads that are unable to charge wirelessly any phone I've ever owned in my entire life. Every single car that I own, put phone on pad, phone gets hot, stops charging, we're done with this whole thing. And now that thing's just filled with like peanut M&M wrappers, random stuff. The cup holders are filled with now my key and my phone and the charge cord. So yeah, we have a major problem here. It seems very solvable. This is the type of stuff where people like EVs, because I feel like the EV manufacturers, they had room, there's not a drive shaft through there, they were able to like sort out shifter, none of that nonsense. So they have a little bit more living space in there. And this is why people love minivans, because there's like a trillion places to put everything. But yeah, most cars that we drive, that enthusiasts drive, terrible cup holder situation. I didn't think we were going to be ranting about cup holders today, to be honest.
I think JD Power nailed it with this. This is a big problem.
Good job. This is the most relevant JD Power's been in 20 years.
Yes. All right. More serious note. Our work has prompted several folks to reach out to us and kind of tell us what's going on in their world, which is exactly what we wanted. We please call us or send us a note. We'd love to hear how your business is doing. One of them was my good friend, John Urist. In his 5.0 Mustang drag racing days, he was John the Fireball Urist. He went on to form Hellion Turbo Systems. He's a manufacturer of turbo kits. They're very well engineered. John does wonderful customer service. A lot of them are emissions compliant. He's gone down that path. As you know, that's very complicated to do with a power adder. John is a true professional, and he studies the market. Highly intellectual guy, right? He studies the market. And he called me up and he's like, "Hey, man, like, I have reached out to everybody in the industry, and I'm telling you right now, the automotive aftermarket." And I would say John plays in the high performance space. I think that's obvious, but this is super critical for listeners that want to know where they're lining up, right? He said, "Look, the automotive aftermarket is down 25% the first half of 2025, 25%. So this isn't a massive study. I can't give you the data points. You know, John didn't reference the 100 companies that he called or anything like that. But you know, if you're in the space, you've got the right group of people that you will call and you'll ask, you know, how are you doing? The automotive aftermarket is down 25% right now. Interestingly, John said in the last couple weeks, things have turned around, and he actually timed it with the U.S. bombing of the Iranian nuclear locations. He said as soon as that happened, the next day, and I think there was a little 4th of July, I think people got to like recover a little bit after what's been really probably an exhaustive first half of 25 for most folks. But it seems like there's light, or at least improvement. You know, my weird judge is how busy is the traffic around Detroit? Like, how nuts is it? Are people out and doing things? Today was crazy coming into Pontiac. People were very busy. But your feel, I've got an industry expert telling me we're down 25%.
I don't know. I have so many wild theories on why car enthusiasm is down a little bit. Some of them are totally insane, like the space-time continuum feels like really sped up right now, and like all of a sudden it's the middle of July. Like it used to be like you'd work on your car in the winter, then you'd have spring, you get it kind of sorted out, whatever, and then it's roadkill's like next week. You know what I mean? Like all of a sudden, and I feel like we had a lot of clients that saw a lot of activity on July 3rd, which is interesting. I feel like everyone at the same time woke up and was like, oh my God, summer's almost over. I didn't do any of the things I said I was going to do. I haven't taken any of these trips. I need to go drag racing, whatever. And they just like panic bought a bunch of stuff is what it feels like to me. But yeah, I don't have time. You don't have time. You had been out on Woodward very little this year, right? I've been out just like through sheer force of will. We lost the NMRA and the NMCA, right? So a lot of people drag race there. We really only have like top tier professional drag racing left. So I think that put a damper on a lot of things, especially for someone like Urist. Cars are super good now. Like you can buy a car that has 1,000 horsepower. So like you don't need to modify cars as much anymore. The average car payment's $1,000. So how much money they have left over. I don't know. It does feel like a confluence of things. It's also like the tariffs, even if the tariffs never affected you, certainly they slowed down, like, let's wait to buy some stuff. Let's see what's going to happen. So I think that there was a pullback there. I don't know. On the one hand, there's 1,000 macro things that I can think of. And on the other hand, it's like, but someone listening to this is going to be like, well, we're up 50%. So, you know, it's working for me. So I don't know. It does seem like there's less time, there's less money. Cars are great now. Summer went by super fast, at least here for us. I'm not sure. What are your thoughts?
I'm thinking about what can you and I bring into this podcast as maybe the things that we're tracking. And I'm thinking about second quarter reports will be coming out in the next couple of weeks. I've had people say, Chevrolet is the indicator of the automotive industry, or at least the American side of it. Let's look at it that way. And they've said Holley is the company that they watch as an aftermarket indicator. So maybe what we'll do is let's get the Holley report when it comes out. It's a publicly traded company, and we can go through that, just even the headlines that they report, and that'll help us get a feel for where the John Urus and the racing and the performance side of the industry is going. A lot of good factors there. I think it's just harder to do car stuff, right? Like when you and I started, it was open trailer and it wasn't a lot of money to go to a track day, and they were simple cars. If you want to start with a car, you're a 25-year-old, you're buying a 40-year-old car, 30-year-old car. You can't afford I'm thinking about my first real hot rod was a 4 or 5-year-old Mustang that ended up being an 870 car when I was done with it, and I could build it iteratively. Right now, you just can't buy a 5-year-old Mustang for that kind of money and go crazy.
Yeah, there also is, and it's kind of always been this way, but it seems worse now than ever. This, the aftermarket, like the resale market for modified cars is almost non-existent at this point. So I think we've moved into this space post-COVID where people were like, oh, I'm going to buy a car for 6 months, and then I'm going to flip it, and I'm going to buy another car. Like, it seemed like people were like buying a ZR1 and then selling it, and buying a 911 and selling it, and buying a Mustang and getting a Super Snake and then whatever. Like, but if you build the engine and twin turbo it, it's worthless effectively. So like, I do think as an industry we have a problem there because, and I would call this the unintended consequences of Bring a Trailer, where like, because Bring a Trailer exists and everyone loves it, the cars have to be stock. Basically, they have to be no accident. They have, right? Like, that is the new cool thing to have. And when you see a car on BAT that is modified, I mean, they go for no money. So I wonder how many people are like, well, I want to sell this in 6 months, 8 months, a year. I'm not going to twin turbo it. It's going to be useless, and I'm never going to return it to stock. So I'll just keep it how it is because I want to buy a Demon or I want to buy something else in the future. I do wonder how much that plays into it too.
Well, they're just so expensive, right? You're playing with a $100,000 car. I referenced the Trackhawk earlier. Mine has 600 miles on it, and I'm rather scared to drive the thing, especially in this area. They're highly stolen vehicles, and you're right. As soon as you modify it, it's like my Uncle Walt told me years ago. Once you put a roll bar in it, it's your car forever.
Yeah, that's a fact.
Incredible advice.
That is a literal fact. Yes.
All right, we're going to track this constantly every week. We're going to talk about the automotive aftermarket, and I like that. Let's ask some of our friends, but we'll bring in some indicators, and we'll just keep this conversation going. So we'll help folks know where they're at. And then I think back to our opening point about the podcast, when we bring experts in, and I'll preview it. We've got Les Rudd coming in, who's one of the biggest manufacturers reps in the industry. Les is going to tell you what parts are moving, what the percentage is, way better than any other study you've ever seen. So we're going to bring folks on like that'll give us answers to some of these questions. I've got one more news item, and this is going to be a little bit of a weird blend into politics, although we're not talking about politics on this podcast. But a gentleman named Zohran Mamdani is in the news everywhere. This is the Democratic he's in the Democratic process for mayor of New York City. Whatever the politics are, I'm not interested in that. What is interesting about Zohran is how he started and how he has gone from an unknown candidate to maybe the leader of the Democratic Party. And again, this isn't a political expert opinion at all. I asked you when we prepped for this, to give a look at some of the stuff he did early on. And he largely built his whole following on very organic, very man on the street type content with just a a smartphone and going out on the different social platforms. What did you pick up from this guy who went from literally an unknown person to 50% of Fox News coverage is about this guy, and everybody's talking about him coming to DC today? How do I take that example and apply it to an automotive or automotive aftermarket company and tap into whatever this guy did to get this type of attention?
I think, yeah, he had a great organic ground game. Now, it probably wasn't organic at all. He probably had a ton of agencies working on this stuff, but yeah, he started by just being a man on the street, which people relate to, especially now. I think we're still, as an industry, very overly polished, very commercial when we try to go out. And a lot of people in our industry don't want to do that kind of build in the open, right? Show what I'm planning to do and then show my failures and show the whole process. But guys like this do that, and you see how that works for them. The biggest brands in the world now that are crushing it on TikTok and stuff are also doing that. I've been following a guy that's, you'll enjoy this. He's reopening a local bowling alley. Young kid, maybe 20 something years old, bought a bowling alley, and every day it's just video of him like, day 63 of rebuilding the bowling alley. I need to get people in here. No one wants to come to a bowling alley on a Tuesday, so I'm gonna make Taco Tuesday or whatever, and we're gonna try it out. And then the next video is like, we did it, and I lost money on it, so we're gonna try something different. Like, I think that build in the open thing is super cool. The other thing that he did very well was the branding, and I saw a deep dive into his branding. If you look up his logo, we could pop it up on the screen maybe. It looks like it's inspired by like bodegas. And if you're in New York City, you see bodega stuff all over the place. You see that kind of stuff. So I think he did a good job capturing the essence of his voter, and it looked different than everyone else. And that's the lesson I would take away if I'm a shop. Like, stop making your logo look like everyone else. Stop naming it like everyone else. Stop doing what everyone else is doing, right? Really try to break it down and be like, what is my core audience into? And I think he did a great job with that.
Yeah, I think there's tons of lessons in the older stuff. You're right. Now he's got a ton of funding, and there's agencies and experts. So it's the value for me from a marketing standpoint is gone. But look at some of the older stuff, and there's lessons to be learned. I'll give you another example. Just if you're a speed shop or you're an accessorizer or a used car person and you can't figure out anything organically, give us a call. We will just do this for free. We'll come up with a crazy, wacky idea for you to get organic content. There's one on Instagram that I don't even know why they knew I would laugh, but it pops up and it's called Barber Chops. It's a barber shop, and the hook is there's a wheel that you can spin if you're a kid, and you can get, I think it's a free haircut, but it's not a great haircut. But they want to be famous on TikTok, so and this barber has just blown up because of this. The point of this is, if you own a speed shop, if you make a little widget, if you do anything in the automotive industry, you can be the same level of excitement. We'll help them. We'll find a way to help you become social animals.
Yeah, also I hear this a lot. Where people like don't want to do the same thing more than once on their Instagram channel. And like all of the largest Instagram channels in the world are basically doing the same thing over and over again. That channel just does spin the wheel, bad haircut, spin the wheel, bad haircut, on and on and on. So like, I don't understand this logic of like, oh, well, we already showed that. We need to do something different for the next reel. Like, no, you don't. Yeah. Consistency wins here. So just pick a thing that works well and do it.
All right, good. Let's move on. I want to talk about lessons from the Motor City Foxfest, or really any car show that you and I have gone to. So a couple ways to look at this. Car shows are just traditional ways to bring car people together. I think a lot of car shows are run as loss leaders. I wouldn't go into the car show business looking to make a ton of money, although there are some that do very well. I think they're the outliers. And I also think it's important for us to talk about best practices. If you're a manufacturer and you're going to go to a car show to get leads, sell products, interact with consumers. So I went to the Motor City Foxfest this weekend, which is this really awesome show. It's for 5-liter Mustangs, Fox body 5-liter Mustangs. And there's a few key reasons why this is so popular and so successful. It's held at Ford World Headquarters in Dearborn, Michigan. Critical that you have a great location. Weather's going to hit every car show, so don't worry about the weather. You're going to get rained on if you do car show stuff. It's just part of it. But you got to have a great location. You got to have a cool hook. You got to have a reason for people to want to bring their car out and go see something, do something that they just can't get in any other way. Okay, that's one of my lessons. Critical that you have great people. And I would say volunteers. I think that's just a critical part of this. You're going to have people that are so passionate about the car show or the car type, the truck type, or whatever the environment is, that they're just going to come out and they're going to donate time to you as the organizer. And this is the case, right? Claire Stewart, who I know very well from NMRA racing days gone by, and a guy named Brian Deal, and I know there are other folks, but I know Brian Deal through our mutual friend Brad Brown, but they've got these great guys that are passionate about these cars. They've got multiple Fox body Mustangs that they're building themselves, so they get a lot of energy. So you've got that going on. The other key element that the show has, just because it's at Ford World Headquarters doesn't really mean you automatically get Ford involved, but they do. And they've got great people from Ford that are on the Ford Performance team, part of the Mustang team. I met with Nick Terzas, who's coming out of a position as leading the Ford Performance Engineers. He's now the legacy licensing director at Ford, right? So he's looking, kind of breaks my heart. He's looking at these old cars from the 1980s and 1990s, right? that I grew up on. But how does he keep that flame burning for Mustang fans? So you got all these elements, and it's just a great show. So I'm going to start there. I'm going to throw some tips in, but I want to get your feedback immediately. What makes a great car show, and how do people put these together to be more effective?
Yeah, I think thinking about who attends your show is a big deal, right? Like, are they super into the history of it? Are they into the modifying? Are they into the swap meet side? Like, what kind of show is this thing? But like, it may be easier to think, if you and I wanted to make the worst car show ever, how would we do that, right? So the first way to make the worst car show ever would be to have a very tight entrance and exit where a lot of people are going to get stuck in a giant line for hours trying to get in and out of a place. So the opposite of that is good ingress and egress, right? We've been to a lot of shows where it's like, this cannot be the only gate to get into this place. This is infuriating, right? And then the backside of that is like the ticketing process. Like, I've been to a trillion shows where it's like, oh, you needed to get a ticket from the gates over there, and no one's going to read anything. So the promoters of shows always try to put it on the person. Like, I was supposed to know that I needed to print out this email because you don't have a way to scan it or whatever. So I think like thinking about every single, like Savannah Bananas, your car show, think about every single touch point for a person and then work them through how are they going to have a great time doing this. You go to a stadium, there's a trillion ways into a stadium and out of a stadium. And now when I buy a ticket to a football game, it tells me what section I'm in, and then it tells me what entrance is closest to that section so I can park there and have a good time. So I think a lot of that work is important. And that may seem like, man, that's a lot of work. Can't they just show up and park in this place? It's like, no, because every little step of the way matters. So I think, how was that at Foxfest? How was your entry and exit and all that?
Actually, it was they have one entrance in the Ford World Headquarters. They didn't want you to come in. So it was now great communications. They have a great Facebook group. They have email. They were even texting me because I was originally signed up to take my 86 GT there. Sorry, I didn't make it, guys. Next year. But you had to kind of drive around the neighborhood a little bit to get into the right entrance. They maybe could have done a better job of mapping that out. But once you're there, like part of that, or a big part of that area is covered. It's July in Detroit. It's hot everywhere, but you don't want to be standing in the sun. At least I don't. So that was cool. And just it's grown. It's probably up 50% from last year. Like, they've got all the right mix. Like, that's the point of why I want to use these guys as an example. But let's talk about, what does Ford get out of it? And then exhibitors that come and sponsors that get involved with the car show. Because you and I have been on the production side of hundreds of shows, and we've been there as manufacturers as well. So Ford gets this immediate credibility, right? And what Nick and I talked about, this seems so obvious to you and me, but I think people completely miss this in this city. But that legacy car owner doesn't just own the 1987 Mustang GT convertible that they're showing. They own a new Mustang, and they buy a new F-150 every 2 years. And their wife has a Lincoln, and their daughter has, her first vehicle is going to be a Ford. So you can't look at these things as just, oh, we want them to bring their classic car out. You are immediately connecting with the most important consumers in your network. And I think for any manufacturer that is on the grounds of a car show, look, it's very confusing. How do I reach my customer right now? It is very difficult to answer that question. Go to a car show that is specific for your genre and where you play. You will be re-energized with how easy it is to reach your customer.
It's amazing to me at the OEs how they don't, you're kind of, when you work in an OE, you're like the shepherd of a brand that you don't really own and control. And really the people who have 18 Fox bodies do. They have more stake in this brand in some ways than you do, right? And so I think if you work in an OE or a big company that supports these enthusiast people, you owe it to yourself to be at all of these shows to see it, right? Like Jeep Jamboree was just going on, and like I know a bunch of the Jeep people were there driving Jeeps on the Rubicon doing this whole experience. And it's like, it's crazy to see. I'm not talking about them now, but we've been on things with engineers, with marketing managers, with whatever. We're like, wow, people are really into these things. Like, yeah, yeah. People have your logo tattooed on their back. People, their entire living room is dedicated to your brand. So yeah, I think they have to take it seriously. And then it's a great exposure to be like, oh, wow, this is what I'm working on every day. Like, it's really important to me to get the next model right because all these people care about it. And also, I think it's funny that people come up to the booth, they're at Foxfest, they come up to the Ford booth, they're expecting to meet like Mr. Foxbot. Like, you have this idea in your head of like what Ford is. And then you realize like, oh, Ford is just a bunch of people who work at Ford, and I can meet them and I can become friends with them. And I can, like I have a one-to-one relationship. There isn't like a Ford that is bigger than just the people you're talking to, right? So like, I think it's cool when people come into a booth and they meet someone and they're like, oh yeah, I have an XYZ. And they're like, oh, I'm the lead engineer on that. Like, that car didn't just appear. So people made it, and someone designed the wheels, and someone picked the paint color, and someone did the interior. And then when you meet them at a show, it's super cool. So yeah, I think that one-to-one interaction should be like literally mandatory for all of the OEs.
Yeah, and those interactions will last a lifetime, and that person goes back to their local car club, and they share the information that they got. Mm-hmm. Let's talk about tips and techniques to draw an audience and to get a base of people at these car shows, right? We've been involved in a lot of it. It can range from, drop your business card in a fishbowl because we're going to give away a free hat, to more sophisticated lead gen where you're giving away a t-shirt and you're capturing information and then you're going to contact them later. Whatever you choose to do, I think it's critical that if you go there, don't just sit and wait for someone to come up and approach you and ask about the part that you're selling, but be inviting, say hello, get to know them. grab a business card, have a notepad at the bare minimum. Hey, can I get your email address? We do a little bit of an email, once a quarter. We won't annoy you. Start that relationship because, as you know, we are selling very expensive stuff in the automotive industry, and it may take a while for someone to make that decision. So, what other techniques can you think of that can help a small company really maximize business at a car show?
This is my biggest pet peeve in the entire world. Every single 10 by 10 tent you go into at every type of event like this, it seems like the most unwelcoming place to be. You're an enthusiast. You're like, oh man, that's a brand. I own some of their stuff. I've never met anyone from that brand. This will be super cool. You walk in, it's like two dudes sitting down trying to drink a water because they've been standing all day in the sun, one guy eating a hot dog, two people on their cell phone, and then you just look like you're annoying them. And then you ask like, oh, hey, is anyone here? It's like, oh, that guy's always gone. Oh, that's John. He left yesterday. Or, oh, that's Tim. We haven't seen him in an hour. And then you ask them at the end of the show on the event side, how was the show? Like, wasn't that great for us, man. It's like, well, you were the most unwelcoming that you could have been. You didn't collect anyone's contact information. You didn't talk to anybody. And now, on the flip side, I've worked many a booth in my days, and I don't really want to interact with anyone while I'm working the booth. It's like, oh, here, we're going to have to talk about some story that I don't really care about or whatever. But like, that is your only job in the world. When you're in that display, you have to be not only welcoming, but like overly welcoming. Like, tell me about your car. Tell me about why you like our brand. Oh my God, let me get you some stickers. Let me get your email, right? And like, if you want to have success in this place, you have to be able to do that. I think about Adam's Polishes, actually. Adam, the owner of Adam's Polishes, he grew up as just like going to car shows and literally being like, let me show you how to clean your paint. Like very, I would call it carnival barker type of style. And for a lot of people, they're like, I'm too cool for that. If you want to talk to me about what I sell, you got to come talk to me about it. It's like, but Adam's grown a massive business by doing one-to-one. Let me sell you some quick detailer. Let me sell you this kit. Like just literally one at a time to this huge empire. And it's because he cared about every single person that not even walked into his booth, but walked by. Hey, you, come here, right? So yeah, I think if you're boots on the ground at an event, you have to be working the crowd the entire time because they're the most important part.
Go there with energy, go there with intent. You're so right. Especially if you got a branded shirt on, right? And you're representing your company. And it might be easier for the owner. That's something we should probably talk about. Like, your employees are never going to treat your company the way you do, but help them, manage them, get them inspired, describe for them, show them how you want them to interact with people at these car shows. It will make the difference. You will do better than the company that doesn't do that.
Yeah, and I will say, tip for owner or manager or whatever, shifts. Like every one of these shows I go to, it's like, oh, we got to load in at 6 a.m. and we don't leave until 8 p.m. and you have to stand there the entire time. Of course, by 2 in the afternoon, I don't want to talk to anyone else. So it's like, how can you break up your team? Like, okay, do 3 hours, be very impactful, take a couple hours off, get back on. Like, I think that would be helpful, and I don't see anyone working that way. I understand, you might have a small team or whatever, but like, hey, Jamie, you're only going to work the morning. Justin, you're going to work the afternoon. There's going to be a little crossover time. Like, that would help a ton, because otherwise, especially by day 3 or 4, you walk into those booths and guys are just like, oh, yeah, it's hot, dude. What do you want? It's like, well, nothing now,
Yeah, like a one-day car show, you can probably do that. But when you're talking about a longer event, like a Barrett-Jackson Scottsdale that goes on for 2 weeks, you will burn people out in 3 days. You got to think that through.
Yeah.
So.
And, for some people, like, your brand might be the most important thing in the world to someone. They might have drove up from California to your show in Michigan to meet Ford and to meet someone from Ford at this event, and they have a very specific question, and like, they will forever remember whatever's about to happen in the next 5 minutes. And if you're just like, oh yeah, John's not here, oh man, it's hot, I'm tired, what's your question again? They're going to remember that. But if you're like, oh yeah, I designed, oh man, let me go show you this. It's so cool. Oh, let me show you, like, they're going to be like, I love this place. I wouldn't get that anywhere else. So again, for them, this might be the only time they ever get to meet Ford, Chevy, Mopar, name the company. But for you, it's just a normal interaction, but like you have to treat it that way.
Yeah. Good. I think that helps a lot, and we can go further and give examples, but I think for our first shot at how to help people at a car show, that's the basics, right?
Yeah.
All right, let's jump to what I think is going to be a regular for us, which is AI Watch. You ready to talk about artificial intelligence? Here we go.
Artificial intelligence.
All right, I'm going to take you down the path of my AI experiment last week. I was very motivated by our discussion about two automotive companies that don't even exist, but they're AI generated and they're making a lot of money. So I opened up, I'm going to be really step by step, so people that have never done this, and I know there are more advanced people listening, but I go to openai.com and I sign up for a free subscription, and it's ready to party. It's ready to help me with anything. So I have one client, and I just go down the path of, hey, help me put together an email campaign, educational, not salesy. There are multiple makers of this product. Let's go week by week and go through the makers and profile. That was a complete joke for AI. That thing happened in like 2 seconds. So if anybody's watching this and you want an email campaign for your speed shop, your used car lot, go to openai.com and it will happen for you almost instantaneously. So I'm like, okay. And I should say, the programmers have made it very encouraging. It will suggest solutions for you. Hey, maybe it should be in this style. Pick one of these three. Which one should we work more on? Really helps you down the path. So I'm like, okay, let's dance a little bit. Let's take this Weber racetrack, this Salina 52 truck stop. Let's take this concept and apply it to what you want to be closer to you and I. So I start with, okay, I'm going to make a fake race team that lives on Facebook and Instagram. And it's going to be two siblings, and I need help with the names, but they're going to be very grassrootsy. They're not wealthy. They're going to, pay for everything. Everything's going to be a grind. It's not going to be easy. And this thing starts spitting out content, and it gives me 3 different team names, and it gives me owners' names, racers' names, and profiles and their background stories. It's just generating this world for me. Again, very supportive, very and anticipated. What am I going to need for this campaign? You and I talked about this a little bit, and I'm like, holy crap, like this, I'm about ready to push go on this thing. It's about ready to make logos. It's about ready to make a whole fake race team for me. Give me your feedback on this, because this is, this first time I've kind of gone this way to make up a whole world. You have an interesting take on this, but hit me.
So yeah, let's start from the top there. I think everybody should be exploring OpenAI at a minimum, get an account. The other thing that it can do is like, I think people always jump to this, like I needed to go do something immediately, but it's a really great ideation machine too. So if you're stuck with something, if you're just like, why do people like this more than this? Like, why am I not selling this? Just literally type in, why would a customer buy this over my product? And it'll do research way faster than any intern, way faster than the best marketers in the world. It won't be perfect, but it'll be really, really close. And you can then see like, oh, it sees these as features and benefits of this thing, and it only has these for me. I have all these features and benefits, right? And then you can go work on that stuff. So I think as like just a thing to bounce ideas off of, it's incredible. 2, for this world building, it's really good at it, right? And it's fun to see it starts to put something together, and then you're like, well, hold on, I want them to be a little bit like this. And it's like, oh, okay, we'll go in that direction, right? So like, as just a fun muse almost, it's like great. There are limitations, obviously, when you get to a certain point. I was thinking about this the other day. It used to be that like ideas were hard to come up with, right? And if you had a great idea, you could make $1 billion. Now, with AI, I think ideas are easy. It's going to be a lot of ideas. Now, the work part is going to be the hard part. So if you have work ethic you can use this thing to just generate a lot of ideas, and then you can go put them into motion. And that's where we are with the state of AI right now. I think we hear a lot about agents and how you're going to be able to employ AIs to go do these tasks. We're not really there yet. So I think you found in your thing, it's great for going back and forth. You come up with this whole team. Now you're like, okay, now I got to build a Facebook page and I got to load this stuff up here, and now I have to do a bunch of work. In the future, you're just going to say like, okay, now you go do it, and it will be able to do that. And there are platforms like N8N and these other ones for automating a lot of these tasks. But yeah, I think you got to be playing with some form of it now. If you have a paid subscription to OpenAI, you can have like project folders too. So you can have like one just for the Automotive Advantage where it learns about the Automotive Advantage the further you go. And then you can have one for Driveline Studios and it learns about Driveline Studios, one for Cars Illustrated, and it'll keep all that stuff kind of separate. And we talked about this a little bit the other day, but the longer you work with it, just like anything, just like a new employee, the more it becomes like you, the more it starts to learn about you. So the people that are working in AI today, in 10 years, are going to have 10 years of history with their AIs. If you start 10 years from now, you're going to have none, right? And it's going to have to learn all that stuff. So imagine hiring a personal assistant 10 years ago, how much they would know about you versus tomorrow. So I think I want to do an episode where we build a world kind of live for people and really show them how to do this. Because I think a lot of this sounds like fantasy or something that's impossible or just like some nerdy AI thing that's not going to help anyone. But man, like for just Google reviews, someone reviews your business and you're not really great at saying thank you. Just take their review, put it in, say, hey, I want to respond to this as the business. I want to be cordial. I want to be nice. It's going to give you something that looks really good. You can change it a little bit and post it. If you need website copy, if you need something to put in an email, if someone sends you, I have a friend that does this a lot. If someone sends you an email where they're kind of being shitty and you want to just tell them to fuck off, but you need a nicer, more corporate speak way to do that, it'll help you kind of form those things. So like, as just a muse to bounce ideas off of, I think that's where it shines right now, as you saw. But yeah, we should show people how to start literally doing this so they can understand it.
I really like your product iteration. In fact, let's play it out. You build crate engines or you build camshafts or cylinder heads, but you're a GM-centric shop, and you see the rise of the third-gen Hemi. You can immediately say, hey, I want to do these types of things. What's hot in that segment of the industry? And this thing will go to town and tell you exactly what your machine shop should be building if you want to start moving into the different segments.
Yeah, as a research agent, it's like unbelievable. I mean, imagine if you had access to a PhD level research team and you could just say, hey, I want you to go out, I want you to look at these 4 competitors, I want you to read every single thing on their website, I want you to give me a pros and cons list of their website versus my website. It can do that for you in 5 minutes, 10 minutes. If you have the upgraded versions of OpenAI, you can do deep research too, which is fascinating to watch. And you can watch it do it. So you can kind of see how it's thinking through this. And we'll go through this in a later example, but you can say, hey, we just started an Automotive Advantage podcast. We think this is our niche. Find all the other good podcasters in this space. Tell me what they're doing better than us. Tell me what we're doing better than them. Show me their social media stats and give me kind of their bio. And it'll be like, okay, the user wants me to do all this stuff. I should go research it. It's going to Google these things. Okay, I found one that's interesting. Let me go look at that. Like you can see its kind of thought process, which helps you understand what it's doing back there. And then it will spit out, 10, 15 pages worth of research. And then you can sit down and read through that and be like, oh, that's not accurate. Or maybe, especially in this industry, because the lingo's weird, it can mess up some of that stuff. But it's like having a full-time staff of researchers that can help you just dive into any product, any niche you want.
These are the things the tech industry has been doing for a decade that we really want to bring to the auto industry so that folks move faster and take this industry to another level. And we're not we're not pioneers in this, right? The OEEs have been doing this a bunch. We talked about Jeff Gordon and race teams doing this. This is for the small shop that is just trying to figure this thing out. So I love these examples that we're bringing forward and trying to help our folks.
Yeah, I think, look for an episode later where we're going to build a little mini world. We're going to hook it up to the internet and we're going to see what happens.
So still staying in the AI space, but I want to transition a little bit to something called social sales or AI avatar sales. Gary Vee's all over this. He's claiming that 30% of all e-commerce sales in China are done with this social sales strategy. And usually the platforms are Whatnot and TikTok. That's several hundred billions in sales, just so everybody understands what we're talking about. This is someone that's on a social platform. They are talking about a product, and you can buy the product as you're watching this. So think QVC goes to TikTok, Instagram, Whatnot, coming to Facebook soon, maybe coming to YouTube soon. Right now, I think the bulk of it is live experts, like if you look at QVC, but you can just click buy right on your phone. Think about it that way. The future of this space is an AI avatar, so someone that looks shockingly like a human, probably a little bit better looking than your average human, just talking about your product line 24 hours a day, and you fall in love with that supercharger kit for your F-150, and you can just buy it right off that app. I don't know of anybody doing this in the automotive space. I think you could do it for cars. I don't know of anybody doing it in the accessories or performance parts space. You're going to see this first probably in the fashion space. Collectibles, I've seen comic book dudes late at night selling comic books like this. It's a little more awkward than just a buy it now button. This is going to happen to the automotive industry. There are going to be people, it'll be the summit racings, right? Where they've got an AI avatar of whatever segment pitching you on products 24 hours a day. And it's going to be a multi-billion-dollar piece of this industry. AI avatar sales. Justin, how do we get started in this?
I have no idea how we get started in this, because I think we still need the regular online sales part, right, to hit our industry. And I've been thinking about this a lot, because I do agree with you that there will be a billionaire that does this, and there will be conglomerates that do this very well, and it would be very interesting to see. Like in comic books, I get it. We were just with some clients yesterday in another industry. They're big into, well, they used to be big into auctions. Like, I understand that in the auction space. We see this with cars. Bring a trailer, $1 trillion business, crushing it, closing 5,000 cars a day. There's a bunch of things like that. Parts, I want to figure this out really bad, but parts seems harder. Do you have to be niched to a car? Like, would it be like Justin's 4th gen Camaro, Whatnot, and I'm just like talking about 4th gens all day? Because that seems reasonable. Because if I'm a 4th gen fan, I'm like, oh, he's testing all the different exhausts today, and then he's gonna say, like, that makes sense to me. If it's just one product, it seems harder. So like, yeah, I think you have to think about that. So I think once people start establishing like, hey, I'm the 4th gen Camaro guy, I have a Whatnot, I'm selling hard to find 4th gen Camaro parts, but I'm also selling crate engines, and I'm also doing this, and people love me for that. If you're a YouTuber in the space, like, man, pretty easy transition over to there. You're already known for that kind of stuff. Then I could see, okay, I want to retire from this. I'm going to train an AI to be doing this more often. I do feel like our industry isn't ready for e-girls to be selling them camshafts, but evidently it's working in other countries, in other spaces. Makeup or something makes more sense to me, but I would love to solve for this, and we should continue to talk about this. And if anyone at home is like, oh, I could do that, I'm about to jump on that. I mean, comic books, magic cards, collectibles, there's a lot of Instagram activity auctioning off those things. Sports cards, like huge. I follow some sports cards guys just because I like watching them negotiate over Michael Jordan rookie cards or whatever, and it's fun to watch. Like, you want 10,000, I want to pay 6,000. We'll meet in the middle. Like that type of stuff is fun. I don't feel like there's as much of that in our market, but there surely is, and we're just not seeing it online yet. So I think someone needs to figure that out, because what a good way to make money, and what a good way to get brand deals. Because if I'm a brand and you're the Justin, the 4th gen Camaro expert, and I have a new 4th gen Camaro part, like, I'm gonna want in on this thing that you're doing over there. So as a way to transition followers into big money, huge. So someone figure this out with regular intelligence first, and then we can use the artificial intelligence next.
Yeah, I think we have to start playing on some of these platforms, and I just because I want to know the functionality, but I think this is I'm not exaggerating, this is a multi-billion-dollar idea of taking the automotive industry into this space. There are people that will spend 10 grand on their phone for a turbocharger kit or whatever they got to have. And someone's going to be at the forefront of this. And your questions are great. Like, Justin can be the Gen 4 expert avatar. Jamie can be the Fox Body 5-liter avatar. You can have all the segments lined up, hundreds of salespeople on these platforms, and they're just grinding every day to move products. There's a customer element to this where the customer just feels more comfortable watching someone read the catalog or show videos and just talk about the product. And they just like that better than calling up Speed Shop ABC and having to ask a bunch of questions and getting crapped on because they don't know the answers. So
yeah, and this also brings up the car review space a little bit. People review cars very well today, but there aren't a lot of parts reviews anymore. That used to be the forum's like main job. Hey, someone just released this. There's a forum thread about it. Everyone's piling on. I got it. This thing doesn't fit, or it sounds amazing. You need to get it, right? Like, that was so nice. You see that in Facebook groups, but man, Facebook groups are a mess for trying to search things and archiving. YouTubers kind of review things, but it seems like most of them are they're not reviewing a bunch of things. They're just like, I got this for my car, and that's all I know about, and it was free, so it's great. I've always wondered how you would break into the product review space in a legitimate way, where we haven't seen a Marquise Brownlee or whatever in parts and accessories yet. We have them for cars, Chris Harris, etc., but we don't have them in the aftermarket. And if you do that, then you can make a whatnot. Then you can make $1 billion.
we're gonna start this. We're gonna figure this out.
Okay, I'm in.
Okay. Let's touch on kind of a topic you and I talk about all the time. I'm one of the characters that people are going to hear about are the nephews. So I have 5 nephews that are about 25 years old, and I talk about their networking all the time. So I want to transition to the automotive industry, how important the network is in the space, first of all, and then how do you grow it, and how do you get connected with great people? And it certainly has a selfish undertone to it. That's not how I ever approach this. But especially for kids that are starting out in the space and they want to go work in the auto industry, you got a huge advantage over you and me. There was no social platform for us to get going. We had to go out to car shows and go out to drag races and meet the movers and shakers. But you can do this very quickly. You can build a huge following just getting out there and adding value to the auto industry. I'm watching one of the nephews now, Connor, who runs Cars Illustrated for me, which is one of my little companies. And Connor is just crushing it. He's grinding it every day. He's putting out great content, and then very shy about it, but I know he'll send you a note with what he's done out there that he's real proud of. And he'll even send Mike Galimi notes, the guy that runs Hot Rod, with a, hey, here's what I'm doing. But he's meeting folks that are in the industry. He's moving forward. Talk about the importance of your network, and then the network in the auto industry, and then what are you doing to expand that space and help people along?
We should do an entire episode on this. We can do a good cop, bad cop type of thing here. You're really good at networking, and I'm terrible at it. So I could be the immediate how to be a terrible networker. One thing I would say for anyone who is an internet kid, the people that you know online don't really matter until you know them in person. Like I know a lot of people who are like, oh, we're friends on Facebook or whatever. It's like all real business happens with the connections you actually know. So like take those things as quickly as possible and turn them into, I know this person in real life. We text each other. We can do real business together. Because I've fell for that trap before where you're like, oh yeah, we're Instagram friends. It's like, pick this person out from a crowd of people. Do you even know what they look like? It's like, well, no. It's like, well, then you're never going to do real business with those people, right? You might get a DM and go do something, but like converting the online persona into the real persona is like step one of networking, I would say. And then connecting with people before you need something or when you don't need anything at all is a great tip, right? I think you're a master of this where you'll just text people, hey, what's going on? Hey, remember this thing? Remember that thing? If anybody knows me, they know I'm the worst texter
Terrible.
on planet Earth.
We got to fix it somehow.
I would love to fix it. And I'm trying really hard, but I'm just terrible at it. And it has held me back. Like it is a problem that I have. It is a roadblock for me. There's money left on the table. There's deals left on the table. There's relationships left on the table. Just because I'm not able to prioritize it the way that a smart networker would. So I probably need a podcast where someone teaches me how to be able to text people back. But I also think we should do one where we just really deep dive into networking 101 and like how long it takes to build a real network, you know? Like I look at our networks now and it's like, yeah, those are 15, 20 years in the making, some longer than that. And I think a lot of people are like, oh, I'll just jump into this industry and I'll know everyone on day one. I met this guy. We should be good now. It's like, no, no, it's going to take much longer than that.
Here's a few quick tips, right? Like, I think it's great to volunteer to get in this industry, to get just access to people, right? Like Tony Robbins preaches proximity is power. If you want to be in this industry, you got to be around people that are in this industry. That sounds so simple when I say it, but right, we're all over the place. People are hiding on social media. Are you really talking to the person you think you're talking to? So, you know, for me, it's get out there, go volunteer at a car show, go to the drag strip and ask if you can help in the staging lanes or if you can announce or just do it for free. Do it for free. Just get out and try it. The other part, I should recommend LinkedIn. For me right now, LinkedIn has really become a weird Facebook kind of thing. I think for me, I'm a little bit past it. I think for young kids, though, you got to have a great LinkedIn profile. At least weekly, put something out with an update on what you've got going on. Move your social channels, your content to where you want to go. So if you want to be a car guy or gal, put out car stuff and just work toward that direction. How's that? Is that a good basis start?
It's good. We were on a video shoot yesterday with some people we had not met before, some people we've known for decades. And what struck me from that was how many times I heard, how can I help? How can I help? Do you need water? How can I help? What do you need? Like, I think so many people think networking is like, look at me, I'm an amazing person. And it's like, if you're just starting out, or even if you've been in this a long time, provide value to the people you're around. How can I help? Can I carry that thing? Do you need a water? Can I do anything for you? That goes so much further than like, well, I'm important and you should know who I am and I'm a big deal, right? So I think just like, yeah, the best way to network is to provide value. And the best way to provide value is to help people with things. So go to events, go and just say, how can I help? And then eventually it's like, oh, I want to become a video guy. That's, whatever. So that would be my little tip.
Yeah, really good. And I would say when I reach out to people, it is rarely, hey, can you help me with something? And I think that's probably where I'm at in my career. It's more of, hey, how do I help you? I see you're doing something. I see you got a project. And I think that's a good way for us to close this episode before we have another alarm or disaster going on. But if you guys need help with your business in the automotive industry, our promise is if you give us a little bit of time every week, we're going to give you an unfair advantage in the automotive industry.
Yeah. Also, if you made it to this point, just let us know. We'll send you, I'll PayPal you $5 because this is the worst episode we've ever had. I think it's writing on the board. I think that's what screwed us up here.
We were told that we had to have something on your empty chalkboard. We are going to erase that and never.
Well, the first two had nothing and they were flawless. This one we wrote on the board and everything that could ever happen happened. So that's the end of the pod.